What is up, everybody? Matt Modi here with Jedi Modi Sports Network. Still feel kind of lame saying that, but it is what it is. Joined by my two good friends, one best friend, Dan, who I have met in person. Tom, have not yet met you in person for a Thursday Night Football / Week 8 / NBA preview. Gentlemen, how are we doing? Thank you for joining me.
Doing great. Thank you for having us.
Yeah.
Much better now after that intro.
Yeah. I always have like a list of like I'm joined by Dagger Dan, Dan the Man, probably still sad Dan. That's what I have written down. I totally forgot to do that.
I'm in a perpetual state of angst and sadness because of my choice in life to root for Philadelphia sports teams. So that's apropos at all times.
Sure. So you're basically just walking around mentally listening to my
Eeyore.
my
like if you could look at like a jacked Eeyore, that's basically what I am.
Yes, that's a lot of what a lot of people say. A jacked Eeyore.
I read the comments. I'm aware.
That should be your new Twitter bio.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wrote down Sack Master Dan with a question mark because I don't know if we're going to get Sack Master Dan tonight. We'll have to wait and see for our Thursday Night Football preview. Tom, I just have Tom. That's all I have. We'll have to work on some nicknames for you.
Fair enough.
Tom joins us from Unabated, Dan from Sporttrade. I'll let you guys do your intros real quick if anybody here doesn't know you. Tom, as my new friend, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so my name's Tom Viola. You can find me on the Twitterverse at TV at Work, and I work for Unabated. We're a toolbox for bettors to help you bet smarter. We've got all sorts of fantastic stuff for you, from a state-of-the-art, super awesome odds screen to help you mine EV in your bets, to prop simulators, season simulators, so much more stuff. Head to unabated.com. Check it out today. Use the promo code TV. Actually, you know what? Matt, it's your show. What's your promo code?
Promo code Modi. There you go. Promo code Modi.
For Unabated?
Yeah.
Let's go. Okay. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
All right. Look at that. Connecting. It's people doing a lot of this on the program. It's good stuff.
People helping people.
Yeah. And we actually, on the subject of the NBA season, we have a fantastic sale going on right now. Again, use that promo code Modi to get your trial. But right now, if you sign up, you can get 6 months of Unabated premium membership for $6.99. That's $99 a month. That is $25 a week. It doesn't get better than that, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going into the point of the sports calendar where we provide the most value to you. Everything's going to be going. We're going to be able to help you find the EV to make better bets.
There we go. Dan, what about you? What do you got?
Where does all that EV lead you? Most likely Sporttrade. Come bet at Sporttrade. If you're in New Jersey or Colorado, if you've seen me on Matt's Thursday show, if you've watched Matt on the Witching Hour, you know the deal. Come trade with us. Come bet with us. That's all I got. Let's get into it.
All right. So for today, I'll do a quick rundown. Thursday Night Football betting preview. As you can see on the screen here, we got Bucks versus Bills. Then we're going to be doing Week 8 lines that we like, and then we'll get into some NBA. But before we get started, I have a little bit of nonsense. I have a somewhat of a business idea that I wanted to run by you gentlemen. It's in the form of a podcast because this world doesn't have enough podcasts, and it's unrelated to what we were texting about privately. We'll leave that private when we want to go public.
So I don't know if you guys talking about Dan's Feet Picks podcast.
That's for our Patreon. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And I'm fine with it. I haven't watched him in weeks.
So I don't know if you guys know this about me. I like to hide this, but I am a huge nerd. We're talking like Star Wars, Marvel, anime, Pokemon, all that stuff. I know
in what way do you hide this?
I know I seem like this really cool guy who doesn't like any of that nerd stuff, but that's actually not true. So I recently had this idea because a lot of young professional athletes also like the nerd stuff. They grew up into it. So what about a podcast where you interview these professional athletes, not at all about sports, just about their nerd fandom? You know, probably a nice way for the athletes to not talk about sports, but still get to talk. So what do you guys think? Roast me.
I think it's a great idea. So before Unabated, before FTN, before Betting Pros, my pandemic job was head of production for an esports arena. And let me tell you,
that's fun.
Athletes are nerds too. Like I met some cool Austin Eckler, really cool guy, great nerd. Amon Green. Do you know what Amon Green does now?
I don't.
He's the esports coach for Lakeland University.
He's a big Settlers of Catan guy, if I remember correctly.
The Packers running back, Amon Green.
Yep.
Wow, that's awesome. I did not know that. Yeah, I saw the running back for the Saints, whose name Jamal Williams, says in his interviews, I just want to go home. Come on. I know De'Aaron Fox is a huge Dragon Ball Z fan. Zion is a Naruto fan, and Tyrese Maxey is a huge Marvel fan. So that's just what I'm working on. By working on it, I mean I thought about it once and thought that'd be interesting, and now we're here.
I like it. You're just gonna have to work with PR teams to get these guys on.
Yeah,
Conceptually, I don't think it's so bad.
Yeah, the PR working with them is going to be the difficult part, considering I'm just a huge nobody. But we'll get there. That's for another day. I figure we can get into Thursday night football, Bucks versus Bills. If you want to bet on the Bucks, best offered +10 at -115 at MGM. If you want to bet on the Bills, best offered -9 at DraftKings. Real quick, this kind of smells like a rat line. It feels like it's way too high in favor of the Bills, considering how they've played. So we'll stick
now,
with
can I interject real quick? You said the best line right now is MGM at +9.5 at -110 for the Bucks.
Last time I checked, I guess this was when I made this graphic. That was the case. If that's not the case, please correct me.
I'm just going to come in here and say +9.5 at -102 at Sporttrade.
So no, I said +10.
Oh, you did. Okay.
At -1, +10 at -115.
Gotcha.
But if we
go to
the Unabated odds screen here right now, it is telling me, in fact, Sporttrade 9.5 -102 best line. That extra half point at the -115, not worth it compared to getting nearly even money.
Not worth the juice. Well, that's why we have the plus EV stuff on here. I was just giving the best number, but that makes a lot of sense. So, well, Tom, we'll start with you. I don't know if you have a thought on the spread on this one. To me, it smells like a rat line. It seems in too high a favor of the Bills. But what do you think?
I mean, it's been interesting looking at the market movement for this game throughout the week here. It opened 7.5 over at Circa, and immediately started getting bet up, rocketed all the way 8.5, 9, 9.5, got to 10, was at 10 for a while, went back down to 9, 9.5 ish, and is now back up at 10. I agree with you. This feels like a line that doesn't make much sense to me as far as what we've seen out of the Bills so far, and the fact that the Bucks haven't been completely trash, but I think that the Bucks have been cooling off an awful lot as of late. I think that we've been seeing them kind of regressing a little bit these past couple of weeks here, and I'm trying to pull up the Massey Peabody rankings for the week. We've got Buffalo as a 6.57 point favorite on a neutral field against an average team. We've got Tampa at right around -1.13 points. So if you take those together, you're looking at, what's that? 6.5, 7.5. Yeah, you're looking around 8 as what this line should be based on the Massey Peabody ranking there. And of course, you can't just bet blindly off of that, but it's a good directional indication that maybe this line has gotten too high.
I know this isn't your metric, obviously, Tom. But, the Bills defensively are completely different than they were 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
Not only in statistics, but just look up and down their injury report. Yeah. How much of that is factored into Massey Peabody? If you know, I know it's not your ranking.
So it's not, individual players aren't factored in, but the thing is that the positional grade, like the defensive grade, does change over time over the course of a couple weeks. So
right, but it still factors in, let's say, weeks 1 through 4 when Matt Milano was still playing, when the defensive line was intact and the secondary was intact. Yeah. Right. Thank you, Trey White. Yeah. I mean, one of my biggest issues with a lot of the rankings that we're seeing out there is that, in my opinion, the Bills are still look at DVOA. I think they're 4th in DVOA. This is just not the same team. It's not anybody's fault. They just have a ton of injuries. So I'm not surprised this continually got bet up. I think a lot of the buzzword this week, gentlemen, is this is a get right spot for the Bills. I don't disagree, but I do think this number has gone too far. And I think a lot of that has been influenced by Baker Mayfield missing practice on Wednesday. Well, they do walkthroughs, so that's an estimation. Vita Vea, game time decision. That moved this line at Sporttrade, at least, from 8.5 to 9.5 today. So we opened at 7.5 as well. Went to 8.5 on Tuesday. This morning, Vita Vea, questionable game time decision. Now that's at 9.5. But to me, the Bills have just as much indecision as the Bucks do. So in my opinion, this has gone the wrong way.
Yeah, you mentioned DVOA, and I saw that Aaron Schatz tweeted this out. But if you just isolate the past 3 weeks alone, the Bills DVOA specifically on defense would be 28th. So
28th,
it's like
yeah.
what, fifth worst. And I think he said that they were like third or fourth in offense. So their offense has been inconsistent, but when you look at the end, they're still putting up points. It's their defense that's really been failing them. I don't love I have also seen that narrative about like the quote unquote get right game, but shouldn't that have been last week against the Patriots team that's terrible and they just lost straight up and looked lifeless for the first like 3 quarters of that game? You know what I mean? Yeah. That's why I just have a hard time. Yeah. So no, go ahead.
I mean, I'm interrupting you there, but yeah, I think this Bills team is really fraudulent.
I agree.
I haven't trusted them all season. The injuries keep piling up now. Von Miller's is Von Miller even back yet?
He is. He came back last week, played 6 snaps.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not back.
Right.
Yeah.
Like this team has a lot of problems, and quite frankly, it's not insane to think the Jets can still win the division.
Oh, get the fuck out of here. Sorry. Household program. I mean, but look, yes, the Bills have played one really good game this year. Okay. They're 4-3. They lose to the Jets in a letdown spot, right? After Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. They thrashed the Raiders and the Commanders, who we now know are not good. They're not good. And then they, their best game by far this year was in a big spot at home against the Dolphins. The Dolphins have proven they don't hold up against tier 1 teams. They lose by 28. They lose the Jaguars in London and then beat the Giants 14-9 for losing to the Patriots. So just metrics aside, right? Just look at the track record here. They are the consummate front-running football team. If they can get up on you, they can bury you. But if you're in a real game with them, they're not a physical team, as the Bengals have shown us year in and year out in January. And they've got a quarterback who is highly volatile and loves giving the ball away. So that may lead to some other things like the total, which we'll talk about in a little bit, I'm sure. But to me, I look at this number. If this is 10, like I got this at 9.5 earlier today. I didn't wait for it to get to 10 because I wasn't sure if it was going to get to 10. But that to me is a massive number, even at home. So yeah. I was talking to somebody I know who's close to this team, who's been around this team for a decade plus. And that person said that this Bills team is a mess. I just don't feel confident in them whatsoever, even though, right? Like you play out the scenarios that could say, okay, what are the scenarios in which the Bills could cover? What are the scenarios in which the Buccaneers could cover? The Buccaneers cover this game by doing what they're really bad at, which is ball control, running the rock. And they suck at it. Like Baker Mayfield literally said in his press conference Wednesday, hey, we're learning we're just not a great running team.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
most of these, the best running back is on the bench in Sean Tucker.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Rashad White, 38th in run success this year.
Yeah. Please give us more Sean Tucker.
I have the stat here. They've averaged just 3 yards per carry. They've 1 rushing score all year. And the last 3 games, they're actually throwing the ball 63% of the time. So they already know they can't run. Yeah. And that's the way to keep, if they can keep the Bills off the field, that's how they cover. But you look at that and say, okay, Dan, well, how does that work then? Well, the Bills, they've no defense. Ed Oliver may not play tonight. Von Miller is 45 years old coming off a torn ACL, right? They have their safeties are in their 30s. Like I love Jordan Poyer. Like I love Micah Hyde, but like White is out. The linebacking core, Matt Milano is one of the best defensive players in the NFL. Nobody talks about him. He's gone. They are so different. And I'm not sure about the psyche of this team offensively either, if you look at it from the other perspective.
Sean McDermott has done not great things when it comes to the offensive play calling.
Agreed.
Like, a lot of their plan, a lot of the time, as Mina Kimes once said, is just Josh Allen go be Superman. Mm-hmm. And he had that one season where he did that really, really well. But quite frankly, I feel like the window's already closing on this Bills team. If not already virtually closed. The defense is nowhere near what it was a couple of years ago. They're only getting older. Josh Allen has not shown that he is a Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow level quarterback. I think he's a tier below that. He makes bad decisions with the ball. He's Zach Wilson with talent. That's what this guy is. It's the same decision making. It's just that Josh Allen is more talented, and therefore some of these decisions that should be completely disastrous actually work out for him just by the sheer virtue of the talent that he has to back it up. But the decision making is not good by any stretch.
Just to be a little more pointed here, right? Like if you were looking to back the Bills, you missed the boat.
Yeah.
Right. By days and days. Yeah. Like I couldn't in good faith say to anybody watching this right now, like, you know what? I'm kind of thinking about the Bills maybe at kickoff. No, Like just don't do it. Sit it out if that's what you're considering.
Yeah. You admit that you missed the price. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
and it's
what-
fine.
And sit it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing that scares me is if I want to get 10, I can still get to, and again, the better line is actually the 9.5 over at Sporttrade. But if you don't live in New Jersey like me, sadly,
Or Colorado. Get in your car, Tom. What are you doing? You've got 3 hours for kickoff.
Yeah, I can make it. But Circa's got the only 10 that I'm seeing on the odds screen right now. Everyone else is at 9.5. And I always get scared when the side I like, when I see that best number and it's at Circa.
Yeah. Yeah. Preseason, Dan, someone came on your show, talked about how they thought the Bills were going to miss the playoffs, got roasted. I think that guy was really handsome. Does this ring a bell at all?
No, because they're not going to miss the playoffs. They're just not going to cover it tonight. I mean, they'll win the football game and they'll be 5-3. But
are they going to win the football?
Cover.
Are we that confident?
Yeah. No, I think they win the football game. So interesting coin toss stats, right? We talk about how that affects a live over or something like that. Tampa Bay 7 for 7 last year in deferral. So if Tampa Bay wins the coin toss, Buffalo's going to get the ball first. Now, if I'm sporting an over position, that's what I want that, right? Like I want the Bills to get the ball and go right down the field and score. I think this game's going to go over regardless. So for me, it doesn't even matter. Like I hope the Bucks go out and go 3 and out, and then I can buy the over at a depressed value.
Sure. Man with over wants team to score touchdown.
Yeah, weird, right? Yeah, it's like a Simpsons headline. That's just kind of how I feel. I feel like this is a game where like the Buccaneers are going to have to do what they do well to keep up, and that's throw the football. So that's how I see it.
Yeah. I just to wrap up the spread talk. I don't have anything personally on this one. If I had to give a prediction, I would take the Bucks plus 9.5, 10 if you can get it. I think that BetMGM line moved. I'm staying away. Like I said, it smells like a rat line, and I don't want any part of it. For the total, I agree with you. I'd lean towards the over. I also don't have anything on it. Like last I checked, I guess the line moved from when I created this graphic, which was 2 hours ago. So not that long ago. It was at 43.5. Now you can get it at 42.5 at MGM and FanDuel. When I looked at it, legitimately every single book had it at 43.5, and I decided to stay away. The 42.5, it's a little juiced, minus 115 at MGM. Or you can get over 43.5 plus 102 at Sporttrade. Unabated can tell you what line is better between the two. But it's long story short,
I'm just telling
Dan,
you.
I agree. Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. But Dan, I agree with you. I'm on the over on this one as well. We'll get into more of the Bills defense specifically with some of these player props. But even though the Bucks can't run, I don't think they'll need to. I think they'll be able to have success through the air, and I think they'll be able to score.
So I broke my own rule that I just talked about like 2 minutes ago. This opened at 41.5 basically everywhere. And the next day it got up to 42. And then today got up at 43. And I still think it's too low.
Yeah.
Curious for your thoughts there, Tom.
I don't have much on the total. I honestly haven't been thinking about totals much at all this year.
Okay. That's Tom Viola, everybody. Thanks, Tom. Thanks for coming on the program. Appreciate it.
I don't have thoughts for you on it. Sorry.
Now, I'd rather you say that than give me some bullshit response. So
that's exactly what
that's great content. That's honest content.
Yeah. So, all right. Any last thoughts on the main line, or are we ready to move on to player props?
No, I mean, I'm on Bucks 9.5 and the over 43.5 as well.
I'm on both of those. I mean, those are if I had to give a prediction, I haven't actually bet either of those. I'm staying away, but I agree with you in terms of just what I think. All right. Player props. Dan, sack master. Do you have any sacks for us today?
The sack master does not, only because I don't trust anybody in the Bills defensive line. Von Miller just coming back. Daquan Jones is out. Ed Oliver's a game time decision. Not that Ed Oliver is all that good. On the other side, Tampa Bay doesn't have a lot of sacks. Shaquille Barrett's got 2 this year. Vita Vea may not even play. Not that he's a sack guy. Looking at the numbers earlier on Unabated, there was just not enough value there for me. So the sack master sitting out. But I do have a Bucks prop on Rachaad White. Now, as somebody who nobody cares, has Rachaad White on his fantasy team, or did because I traded him. Just brutal inefficiency. It's a terrible run offense as we laid out before. So his rushing and receiving prop here was I got it at 72.5. It was 70.5 everywhere else, but DraftKings had 72 and a half. So I went ahead and took the extra 2 yards there.
There you go. So
So,
the
big
under
fan of that
72 rushing
Under
plus
72 and a half.
rushing plus receiving.
Correct.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a similar
Baker-
play.
Again, yeah. Baker's just not a check down guy. He wants to get it out there and throw it, especially if they're down. He's not going to be checking it down. So
He's not Tom Brady, that's for sure. Yeah, I have the under 46 and a half rushing yards. Kind of similar logic everywhere else. I think it was 43 or 44 when I locked it in. He's cleared this number twice. They can't run the ball at all. I think they'll have success through the air, like I said. I also have 2 kind of juiced up player props, but Tom, I'll let you talk. Do you have any player props on this one? Have you run any projections?
I actually do. First of all, hammer any Sean Tucker over that you can find, because I finally dropped him for my fantasy team this week. So this is the game.
To be clear, when you start talking about your fantasy team, you first have to say that nobody cares. Then you're allowed to start talking about your fantasy team.
Yeah, but this isn't about my fantasy team. This is about the impact that is going to happen, because X has happened and therefore Y is going to happen. It just so happens that X involved my fantasy team.
I don't now. Having said that, I'm looking at Unabated's prop thing. I don't see. I know that was really good.
Is that the official name for it?
I think so. No, hey, I don't work there.
Prop thing.
I don't work there, but I'm pretty sure. I don't see any Sean Tucker lines out there.
No.
Yeah.
The books are scared off of it.
Yeah.
Thanks, yeah.
No, I some real ones that I have here. James Cook receptions under 2.5. Bet Rivers -115. Based on the projections I'm using here, which are coming from the Blitz, 17.97% edge.
Sorry, what was the odds on that? You said under 2.5.
-115.
Okay, right now I'm seeing -111 on Caesars. So if people want to lock that in, you can get a better price. Nobody cares. I just traded for James Cook on my fantasy team, so that also seems like a good play, because now he's going to start not playing as well.
Mm-hmm.
I have 2 juiced up player props, both receiving yards. I have Mike Evans 80+ and Dalton Kincaid 60+. They're both one's plus 235 for Mike Evans, plus 240 for Kincaid. At least when I locked it in, I haven't checked what those lines are now. The Mike Evans thing is the Bills defense, or the Bills defense just can't guard the pass anymore. Like the last 3 quarterbacks have gone over their passing yardage prop. I didn't want to touch Baker Mayfield because he seems a little bit scary, but when he struggles, it's against pressure. Like when he has his bad games, I'm thinking of the Monday Night Football game against the Eagles, one of his worst games of the year, with the Eagles were just all over him. When he has a clean pocket, he can dice you up, and his favorite target has consistently been Mike Evans, who's been good this year. He has at least 8 targets in every single game, which I like. He's a good deep ball receiver. Baker Mayfield can throw the deep ball. And then for Kincaid, we talked about this a little bit in our text thread, but no Dawson Knox. I think he got 8 targets last week. He caught all 8 for 78 yards. The offense is broken. Gabe Davis hasn't done anything in like 4 weeks. So I think someone else from Stephon Diggs is going to have to do something. And I like Kincaid. So I thought those are pretty juicy. Those are my 3 player props and the 2 pumped up ones for this one. What do you guys think?
I also have a Kincaid one. My projections are really liking his over 4.5 receptions.
Okay.
I think they really like it, but they like him enough to bet him at +130 on DraftKings right now. Not sure. I don't have Caesars lines up at the moment.
That best line is on DraftKings. So yeah, I mean that's pretty juicy. Like I said, he had 8 last game, and I saw a stat. I think it was Connor Allen 4 for 4. That he did the majority of his damage against zone defense. I don't know how much of this you can really project moving forward. I just thought it was interesting because it helped my point. So I thought it was good. If it didn't help my point, I wouldn't have thought it was good.
That's content.
That's how stats work. But yeah, he had, I think, like 75 of his 78 receiving yards, something like that, against zone defense. And the Bucs played the 6th highest % against zone. So I also thought that was interesting. So yeah, those are my 3 tonight. You guys have any other player props that
I'm on Kincaid as well. 35.5 at points bet. It was 3 yards lower than DraftKings, which was the same price, which I thought was pretty crazy. So just from an EV perspective, we're revving that up. And also nobody cares, but I just traded Laporta for him and picks last night. So let's go.
Yeah, I have Laporta as well. Nobody cares, but I also have Laporta, sticking with him.
Yeah, nobody cares. Deep keeper league, but I was able to pick up a premium draft pick and Kincaid, even though Knox just broke his wrist or whatever. So it was a plus EV trade.
Yeah,
nobody cares, but I drafted both Kincaid and Laporta in my dynasty league. I just like, I don't have a tight end. I'm gonna go, and one of these guys is gonna be
smart.
Good. I took
Laporta's a stud. I mean, they're both good. That's smart.
Yeah.
I mean, good thing nobody cares, but that's just great scouting on your part.
I took them and I took Keyshawn Booty because
Why
with
not?
a name like that, you can do so many things with your fantasy team name pun, and that is the fantasy football equivalent of a great locker room guy.
It's true. No, it's true. He's a gel guy. He's like
Yeah.
the 15th guy on the bench in the NBA. It's correct. It's so true.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Theo Pinson, if you will. All right. Any last thoughts on this Thursday night football game? Are we ready to move on?
Bucks money line.
Bucks money line. I like it.
Wow.
Do it.
What's the price there? Hold on. What's the price of the Bucks ML? Let's see.
Best offered on
I have it up
Sporttrade.
right here. Of course it is. I have it right here. I don't know why.
Plus 405.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, we've seen the money line was kind of moving and grooving quite a bit this week. That's a good price.
Yeah. All right. So for week 8 lines, I created this nice, beautiful graphic that I forgot to upload to StreamYard. So unfortunately, I don't have anything there. But the 3 games that I wanted to talk about that at least I have thoughts on, obviously you guys can mention other games. The first one was the Packers-Vikings. Another situation where it smelled like a rat line, where somehow the Packers opened up as the favorite. Now that's since shifted, and it's more looking like a pick'em, depending on where you look. But I just don't understand. Is it just because they're at home? Is it just because people think Aaron Rodgers in his prime is coming back and playing? Okay, so now it's at best offered at minus 120. I looked earlier today when I created these notes 2 hours ago, and the Vikings were minus 108. So clearly people are starting to catch on. So it's not quite as much of a rat line, but like the Packers have been dreadful for 3 weeks now. They got smoked by the Lions at home. Then they lost to 2 of the worst teams in football in the Raiders and the Broncos. Their offense is broken. They're down to 25th in total DVOA, 27th on defense. So it's not even as though their defense is doing anything. And props to the Vikings, props to Kirk, they're showing signs of life. I mean, that was one of the best games Kirk's ever played, Monday Night Football against the 49ers. Aside from that, should have been intercepted. That turned into like a 70-yard touchdown. Well-balanced Vikings team, 16th in DVOA, 14th in offense, 15th on defense. So the price has moved a little bit where it's not quite as juicy as it was when I looked at it, but I like the Vikings on this one. You guys have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, Tom and I talked about this yesterday when it was a pick'em. Actually, we both kind of said, I just don't really understand it, and the market has kind of proven us to be correct, which never happens. But yeah, I'm seeing 1.5s in favor of Minnesota everywhere. I mean, Tom mentions it all the time. We do a live movement show Tuesdays and sometimes Wednesdays for Sporttrade, and that's anything below the 3s, you're kind of swinging on the pendulum, right? Yeah. But to me, the pick'em just I didn't get it at the time. I think clearly, to your point, Matt, the Vikings have shown they're a better outfit right now. So I'm not surprised by that movement, and a little mad at myself for not grabbing a pick'em.
I mean, honestly, the edge still exists right now. Unabated line says that there is a 0.4% edge, so it's small, but there does exist an edge on Vikings minus 2.5 plus 111 at Sporttrade.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, getting below that key number of 3, I think makes sense.
And it's that you're getting the juice because you're getting that plus 111 with Sporttrade on the 2.5, and so that's more valuable than the 1.5 than the 1 point in the 1.5 to 2.5 difference.
That makes sense. Well, if that price doesn't change when we hop off, that might be something that we'll be sweating out on the Sunday show. Which
just grab it right now. Just bet it now.
Well, it'd be rude to get on my phone while I'm in the middle of a live stream with my 2 buds.
This is the betting show.
That's true.
And you're giving us, you would be giving us volume too. So really, I'd be putting a feather in my cap.
That's true. All right. Well, while I do this, I have 2 more games I want to talk about, but I just hijacked that last one. So what do you guys have?
I will say I have Minnesota. I looking at the bets that I've already made, I did grab the Minnesota -1 at even money a while back. And yesterday I grabbed the total for that game at under 43. And that number has gone to 42.
Nice. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Good bet.
All right, Tom, Dan, you guys have any week 8 games that you wanted to talk about?
No, I know you wanted to talk Eagles Commanders, and this is one we touched on yesterday too, which was at 6.5 yesterday. It looks like it's still there now. I don't think we're going to cross 7. I think this is the number you're going to go into the weekend with. Although actually, no, it is up at 7. Not everywhere, but it is the 7. So kudos to us. We said grab that before it possibly gets there. But there you go.
So
good.
Sorry, wait. So you were saying grab the Eagles -6.5 before it gets to 7. Is that?
We were wondering if it was going to get to 7.
Got it. Okay,
yesterday.
And we were very wrong.
We were very wrong. We said we weren't quite sure, but that is apparently what's going on. I think a lot of this fueled by some conjecture, perhaps, of an offloading of talent from Washington. These teams always play each other really tough. We talked about it. 3 of the last 4 times Washington has played them tough, and they even went to Philly and beat them last year. They went to overtime in Philly this year. The teams are very familiar with each other. Ron Rivera is very much familiar with what goes on in Nick Sirianni's offense. So they have a lot of talent on the defensive line. So 7 is a lot. That's why I'm surprised it got there. I think that's a mistake, frankly, especially with Jalen Hurts, who is a banged up knee. Jalen Hurts proving to be a guy who likes to talk about his injuries, which I don't love, but he continually likes to bring it up for some reason. So that's I'm not betting Washington +7, but it's getting a little high for me.
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like I sometimes fly too close to the sun when I'm talking about Eagles games, because it's like I'm too close to really get a good feel. But it just feels like a huge letdown opportunity for the Eagles. Like you mentioned, the banged up Hurts. Clearly, the win against the Dolphins meant a lot to them because they celebrated like they won a playoff game. Like clearly that game meant a lot to them. And then next week they play Dallas. So it's like this Commanders game is sandwiched in between an emotional victory and then a game against Dallas, which could literally be for like a possible like first round bye or being a wild card team. And then I always like to look at situations where the team's coming off a really gross loss and it's probably going to be undervalued. That's exactly what we have in the Commanders. Horrible performance against the Giants. This literally happened the last time they played. The Commanders got smoked by the Bills. So everybody was taking them lightly. And then next thing you know, they played the Eagles tough. So maybe if you want to say like the Eagles aren't going to let that happen again, they saw them the first time, they saw the Commanders play them tough, and they're going to come fired up. To me, this just seems like a gross 3-point victory or possible upset. Like I think I sprinkled money line. I don't think I beat the CLV, so that one's going to be an L. But I think I sprinkled money line earlier this week in the off chance that it's the same thing that happened last year when the Commanders did beat them.
Best line right now, +6.5 on the Commanders at +106. Tom, where do you think you can get that at?
I'm going to go ahead and guess Sporttrade.
I thought you were going to say profit. No, it's Sporttrade.
I mean, why would he even say that?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you.
All right. I have one more game. I know I've talked about both of them. Do you guys have any games you wanted to highlight?
I'm really interested in this Raiders-Lions game.
That's the last one I wanted to talk about. So what do you have for us?
I mean, this is prime teaser candidate right here. I love doing it when you can tease down the 8 to the 2.5. It's definitely it definitely hasn't been going well for me this year because we've had a lot of underdogs come through in a lot of these spots. But you're taking a team that's a heavy favorite and you're able to tease them down to a 1 possession win. That's at least in your lizard gambling brain a good thing. And you're crossing through the key numbers there, so it's mathematically a good thing too. But like combining that with the Chargers, also 8.5 versus the Bears, that's a fun little 2-teamer right there. And you got plenty of other candidates. I'm eyeing that Chiefs 7 down to 1, which isn't quite wrong, but it's just about there. Then you also got the Titans at +2.5. You can tease that. You got a lot of options here.
What about teaser option? I like the Ravens against the Cardinals. That feels like that game could be 40-0.
So the problem with it, I'll probably have some stuff with that in it, but it was a fantastic option when it was at 8.5. It's moved up to 9.5. So you're still at that 3.5, which could sink you, but I'm with you. I mean, Ravens look good. Cardinals, not so much. I do think the Raiders.
Sorry to cut you off. I saw a stat that actually the Cardinals have the 5th most first half points this year.
Yeah.
So maybe an interesting spot for a first half, something or another.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Cardinals are absolutely a team that they don't make adjustments to the second half, and the talent drops off at the end. They don't have the horses to get games done, and we've seen that reflected multiple times. They had a couple games early that they really were winning right up until the end, and they just collapsed. It's been a common theme for this team so far this year, but the Raiders, I think, are the worst team in football. I don't care about the rankings. I don't care about the records. You lost to Tyson Begin. You are the worst. You are the worst team. I feel great about my Raiders' worst record bet, even though it's not going to come through. I was right. They are garbage.
Yeah, they're terrible. I agree with you.
Well. Name one good player on this team, honestly, at this point that doesn't want their way off the team.
Crosby is really the only one. I love Max Crosby, but that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, to me, this feels like an alt spread for the Lions, like minus 13.5, something like that. I'm not sure what that's offered at this time, but that's kind of where I'm at.
If only we knew of some kind of sports book or sports betting exchange that offered alt lines.
Yeah, I can't think of anything. So, Dan, if you want to get up the alt lines for
maybe I'll go. Maybe I'll go find one somewhere.
Yeah, I'll go take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like they got punched in the mouth last week against the Ravens. Now they're at home against a horrible team. They're not shy to blow teams out. Like they're 5-2, and 4 of their 5 victories have been by 14 plus points. And then a victory opening night against the Chiefs, granted without Kelsey and Chris Jones, but whatever. Like they still beat the Chiefs in Kansas City. Like they're still 5th in DVOA. The Raiders are dreadful with or without Jimmy G. I don't care if he's playing or not. Yeah, like I just can see this game. I mean, it's Monday Night Football and like prime time, whatever. I could just see this game being where the Lions just smack the crap out of them.
So Lions minus 13.5 plus 163. I felt like it should be a lot higher.
Yeah, that's not as good as expected.
Yeah.
But cool. All right.
This might be a game that this might be like your whole. I'm going to tease. I am going to have this game out the wazoo on teasers. But if you could get lucky and the Raiders score first, all of a sudden I'm very like if they can score first and get a stop, I'm very interested in seeing if I can't get that Lions number under a touchdown.
Tommy, you're not interested in teasing the Chargers down to 2.5?
I'm wildly interested in teasing the Chargers down to 2.5. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Not
against your guy Bagent?
Bagent? I don't know.
Sure, I don't know.
That man is not that man. I have no claim to that man except for the fact that it was funny watching the Raiders lose that game.
How do you feel about? I'm just curious about this organically. Teasing 7-1, not enough value, right?
Depends. Sometimes I'll still do it because
I'm looking at KC and Denver, which has a smattering of a couple different lines. You've got 7s, you've got 7.5s. Pinnacle has it at 8. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, there is a lot that you can find there. Like FanDuel's got 7.5 right now. When you tease that down, it becomes plus EV. But let me see here. I am just like scooping some stuff into the Unabated teaser tool.
Like you use the parlay doctor, right? Matt is like your guy. The parlay doctor builds you some winners. I feel like Tom is the tease teacher.
The tease
class,
class is in session.
Yeah. And the Kansas City spread teased 7 down to 1 plus EV on a 3-leg 6.1 plus 160 teaser.
There you go.
If you build out if you tease Kansas City, the Chargers, and the Lions, plus you got an edge of 11% roughly.
Wow. Okay.
You know who else loves a good teaser? I don't know if you guys listen to him at all, but Chris Long, huge tease guy. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Chris Long.
I'm friends with his brother.
Which one?
Howie.
Howie Jr.?
Yeah. Great dude.
Yeah. But all my roommates from college grew up in Charlottesville, so they all know. I mean, I don't think they're like personal friends, but they all know the Long family. I want to invite him to my wedding. My fiance doesn't want me to because she doesn't want to not be the most important person there. It doesn't really make sense to me. But what are you going to do?
That's selfish. I don't know why she's thinking that.
Yeah, it's like not like it's her wedding or anything.
And like her and I are close personal friends, obviously.
Yes, obviously.
I sided with her, but like that's just being selfish.
Well, I'm very excited for when Taylor Swift's at my wedding.
Yeah, she'll be at the one at the altar.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I figured as much. Yeah, you got some competition now, pal.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, grow. You know what? If you just grow a mustache and grow 6 inches, you got a chance.
I think I need like an extra 100 pounds of pure muscle too. But
that's probably true.
I'm hitting the gym. We're working on it. We're working.
Yeah, get on Dan's workout routine.
Let's chat, pal. What are you doing? What'd you do today?
Today I woke up, and that was an accomplishment because we were out late. Last night was a late night. God. I'll tell you that much. But I did hit the gym last night pre clubbing, so got both of that. Got both. A
lot of calf raises. Really got those calves looking nice and tight before a night out. You have to
know it.
There's nothing less attractive than an undefined calf.
Oh, the calves are very defined.
Okay. I know. I figured. You send me pictures of your legs all the time. I understand.
Yeah, exactly. you know, you're getting the progress updates, but it's been feeling good. A lot of arm stuff, a lot of bicep curls.
How much are you kegling these days?
Kegling? I mean, that's just like you gotta have it all, you know.
Yeah. Look, if you're not, and this is for Matt too, if you're not building a strong inner thigh,
yeah,
I don't really know what you're doing.
The
What are
pelvic
you
floor
doing?
needs to be firm.
Yeah.
Everybody says that.
We're talking about stability, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay?
Couple comments. Number one, clubbing on a Wednesday is I didn't even do that when I was younger.
You have to, like, Tom is like Peter Pan. Like, you have our life.
No, I do not
okay?
live in the same existence.
No,
He's at Neverland.
Like, I'm a couple years older than Matt, and I'm probably a decade older than Tom. Okay. Like, his life is not your life.
My
No.
My best friend was he wasn't going to come out last night, and at like 10 o'clock, I'm in the gym, I'm winding down, and I just get a text from him, and he goes, "What time are they going on tonight?" And I knew at that moment, I knew I had him. I knew, and next thing I know, I get a call. Huh?
I said you knew it was on at that point.
Yeah, I knew he was coming, and so we went out. We had a great time. It's a Wednesday, but when you only get so many of these nights.
That's true.
And my buddies were the DJs, so we're up backstage. We had a fantastic time. You're not going to remember the naps you took when you look back at the end of the day.
Oh, I remember the nights I get a good night of sleep. Trust me, that's the most exciting part of my week is when I get a good night of sleep. The second point I wanted to make to your calf point, my fiance loves to say that my favorite body part of hers are my calves. Very defined calves, Dan. I think you would be impressed.
Well, they're so long. I mean, you're 6'7", so it doesn't surprise me that that's the case. I mean, you're a goddamn giant, so your calves stretch for days.
Every time you mention it, I grow 2 inches.
I'm glad you've also picked up on that. I'm going to run out of space pretty soon. Pretty soon, people are going to be like, "Can this guy guard Wembanyama? Like, what's going on with this guy?
Is he Manute Bol? What's going on?"
Yeah, seriously. Pretty soon, you're going to be taller than Yao Ming.
Yeah, there you go. All right, it's been 42 minutes. We don't have to spend a lot of time on the NBA. If you guys have anything to say, you can. Dan, I wanted to get your Sixers take. I know
I'm not watching them. I don't care. I'm not watching them. I don't care. They are the Buffalo Bills of the NBA. I'm sick and tired of watching them flame out.
That is so accurate.
I just don't give a shit.
Don't
care.
Bills have made it past the second round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it's true. But like every year we look at the Bills and go, "Oh, okay, I guess we're just going to roll this ball over to next year." And as Tom said, well, now they're rolled. Well, you know what? Like, you got nothing now. Every other team got a lot better, and you putzed around with James Harden for 6 months. So
yeah,
like,
I saw
what are you gonna do?
I don't remember who it was from, but a funny tweet. It was like, the Bucks are loading up getting Dame, the Celtics are loading up getting Drew Holiday. Meanwhile, the Sixers are like drawing the line in the sand at Terrence Mann. Like, it's not the same sport.
Hey, you got James Harden.
That's true.
Sit on the sidelines. Yeah,
proven winner.
Yeah,
proven winner.
Proven team chemistry maestro over here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tom, do you have one single NBA take for the season that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, we've now entered the worst part of the NBA cycle. We've gone from the best part, which is the offseason, to the worst part, which is the regular season.
Which is the product.
Yes.
Yeah.
The NBA is a reality TV show, and it is at its best when it is Real Housewives of the NBA. It is at its worst when they have to go out and play basketball.
Yeah, and like the commissioner all off season was saying how they're going to crack down on teams resting star players, and the Suns
just came right out and said, "Nah, screw you all."
That makes me a Suns fan. I think that's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
They're just huge middle finger to Adam Silver, being like, "Oh, you're going to punish us? Guess what? We're going to rest on the 2 first games of the year that are both in prime time
and still win." But load management,
honestly, probably still win.
Yeah.
The only one take that I have is the shining light on the Sixers is Tyrese Maxey. I love Tyrese Maxey. I think he's going to have a great year. He's literally the only positive thing about the team. So go Tyrese Maxey.
The only bet I really like is Pacers over. I think they're actually going to be pretty good.
We actually, for those that are actually interested in basketball and basketball modeling and sharp basketball betting, check out the latest Unabated podcast with Plus EV Analytics, where we go over his win totals for the season and, more importantly, how he gets to those numbers and how he built out everything that he built. It was a really nerdy conversation. Dan understood like 3 words the entire time.
That's being polite. I didn't even. You're talking about the intro to your tweet.
Yes.
I didn't even listen to it. I couldn't even get past the tweet.
But it really is really was a great show. Really fascinating from a data modeling perspective about how he's thinking about some of these things and some of the ways that like these guys try to solve problems in creative ways to get more out of their data. But as far as an actual take for the season, I mean, I love that the best player in the league cares about basketball as much as I do. And I love
Okay.
that he's probably just going to win another title for the sole purpose of going on a victory parade and then go back to go play with his horses. And
Yeah, that's all he wants to do.
Oh, I thought you meant James Harden. Sorry.
no, James Harden cares about basketball less than I do.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Jokic just wants to play with his horses. Yeah, it is funny how good he is and how little he cares. Like I wonder
it
what
is
he
a
does.
job. Like that
Yeah.
that man treats playing in the National Basketball Association like any normal person would treat going to work at an accounting firm. It is amazing.
Yeah,
But
that is true.
I was convinced the Nuggets were never going to win another title because he was so miserable and he was like, I want to go home. And then he has to stay an extra 3 days for the victory parade and all that. But instead, he goes on the parade and then he's like, I love it. And now he's going to win the next 5 titles.
Probably. Yeah.
Also,
probably.
he looks like he's playing in flip-flops. And once you see that, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, good take. Jokic is good at basketball. I think you're the first one on that one.
I know.
Gentlemen?
Very, very out on a limb here.
Yeah.
The thing about Tom that you don't understand, Matt, is he's so plugged in. That's the biggest thing. I mean, that's the kind of insight you only get if you live in the West.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
That kind of information doesn't get out to me in New Jersey.
No, really.
Or
doesn't.
even me in Colorado. Doesn't even make it that far east.
I'm surprised it even gets outside of the walls of Denver.
I mean, isn't Matt in the walls of Denver?
I don't know.
Yeah, technically, yeah.
Look, he's this underrated guy that you've got like just flying below the radar. I know no one in Denver is talking about him, but trust me, you're going to know the name Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
No one is. Gentlemen, I appreciate you for tuning in. Appreciate everybody for watching. We will end this one and we will catch you next time. Peace.